Do you want to know how to help kids with anger issues? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting, good communication, and child development all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about calming down the children. In this video, we're going to be talking about why anger issues occur and what parents can do to follow the principles of self-government and help the child lose the anger craving and come toward calmness. Anger issues can be difficult to address in children, and that's because many children do not have a lot of self-awareness about what is going on. I know this because I've raised 4 children of my own. I also am a grandmother, and now seeing these little babies and toddlers come into the picture. And I also was a treatment foster care parent for troubled teens. I did therapeutic treatment care for a lot of years, and the majority of the teens that came through my home struggled with anger management issues. Anger issues are something I have had a lot of experience with. But here's the thing. The reason why many children have a struggle addressing their anger issues is because they don't actually have awareness of what's happening on inside their body chemically, especially pertaining to the chemicals in the brain. If we teach our children what's going on in the brain, that can make a world of difference. Now, why is it that some people struggle with anger issues besides just not knowing what's going on? Well, sometimes they've developed a habit to react to situations in a certain way. They might be triggered to react in a certain way to things. They might have had a bad example for overreacting and have decided that that's where they go to as soon as they hear or experience a certain feeling. Feelings can trigger us to do things we don't like, or we can use that same feeling to trigger us to go in a positive or productive direction. We have to decide how we're going to interpret each of the feelings that we might be experiencing. So sometimes a child might experience stress. And when they experience stress, they may develop a habit of going straight to anger. Or maybe they have a feeling of fear, and that leads them to go to anger as well. There are many reasons why a person might find themselves struggling with anger issues. Sometimes children who are non-neurotypical and have higher levels of anxiety struggle a little bit more with anger issues. The majority of the foster children that came through my home had what they called anger management issues, and that's because many of them were non-neurotypical in their processing. So I had youth that had ADHD, OCD, ODD, RAD, FAS, kleptomania, abuse issues, bipolar issues, sensory issues, personality disorder, autism. There were many things that the children were working through, as well as working through attachment issues, oftentimes because of being displaced. So what I found out was that everyone wants to be calm. Just because they have a habit of trying to control through anger or going to anger because of just an auto response, they just have a track to it, they just automatically go to back brain, maybe because of anxiety or something, that doesn't mean they really want to do that. It's a lot of work to get angry. You have to fire a lot of chemicals. It's like exercising, and it really does drain a person. Just think of what happens when you have a baby or a toddler that's going completely out of control. They're having a tantrum, they're screaming. Finally, after 45 minutes of screaming, what do? They fall asleep because they're so tired. So what can we do to help these children who are struggling with anger issues see that there is hope? First thing is, don't take any of their anger personally. That's not going to help you. It's not going to help them. They need to know that you are a safe person. So you'll probably want to tell them, hey, I know that you are working on anger management right now. You're trying to learn how to be calm. We're going to spend a lot of time working on calmness. If you happen to have a moment where you go to anger, no worries. I'll bring it to your attention like this. And you give them a cue phrase, or maybe something that you will say to remind them that we need to go to calmness. You'll have to decide that all on your own what you're going to say. You might just say the word calmness, and that can make all the difference. Calmness is key, and you can pre-teach your children all about calmness. In fact, if you've subscribed to this channel already, then you know I talk a lot about pre-teaching. Learning self-government hinges on preparing ahead of time so that you can then follow through with the plan. That's what a self-governed person does. In fact, the definition of self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So what that means is that you prepare yourself ahead of time, or you help your child prepare ahead of time for what to do if a certain circumstance arises. So when I'm teaching my children about calmness and that it's possible, I help them define, maybe even write down a list of what happens to them in what order when they are starting to go out of control. If they have that little picture of awareness, it's like a mirror where they can say, okay, when I get to here, instead of thinking this, I'm going to think this instead. That's empowering, teaching them what thoughts get them in trouble and what thoughts can help them. Speaking of thoughts, learning how our brain works is really important. We have the prefrontal cortex, which does all of the logical processing for the brain. This is where we want to stay if we want to solve our problems in a calm way. When a person is processing with their prefrontal cortex, they have 100% capacity to solve their problem. As soon as they get to midbrain, which is the amygdala part of the brain, that's the emotional center of the brain. Once they have moved their processing to midbrain, they lose some processing capabilities. They get to about 40% ability to solve their problem effectively and to stay calm. That's a struggle. Once they go to back brain, which is often called the downstairs brain or maybe fight or flight, at that point they really can't think well at all. In fact, you only have about 10% ability to solve your problem when you are in back brain. So when you're in mid or back brain, the best thing a parent can do is help you to get to front brain so that you can get back to a place of thinking. So before we handle any problem that a person is angry about, we first stop at front brain and calmness. We point them in that direction first. Once we get there, then we handle whatever problem it is that got them so worried in the first place. The Teaching Self-Government Parenting System teaches children 4 basic skills. Now, these books are probably for children 12 and under, but there are other books and courses where you can learn the 4 basic skills of self-government. It's not all just one piece, but a lot of it hinges on the children and parents understanding these 4 basic skills. The 4 basic skills that are taught in these children's books are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. When a person learns these 4 basic skills, that takes care of 99% of their behavioral problems. Now, when a person is truly a self-governed person, they are able to use all of these skills on themselves. When we're talking about handling anger issues, we're talking about giving ourselves a no answer, accepting consequences, giving ourselves instructions, and learning how to disagree appropriately with other people. A person who is emotionally healthy can give themselves instructions, no answers, accept consequences, and disagree appropriately with themselves and others. So that's our goal. All of our parenting should be working up to that type of communication goal for the person, because then they will be a very emotionally healthy and then socially healthy person as an adult. So what does it look like when we are teaching our child how to use these 4 basic skills? When you start learning self-government, you're going to start by creating a plan of what type of communications, relationships, and overall tone or feeling in the home and in the relationships that you want to have. And after that, you'll teach those 4 basic skills. You can read the books, act it out, and put them into an implementation. But you're also going to be teaching your children how you will correct them if they don't choose to use their skills or things go wrong. There are 5 different skills that the parents use to help correct negative behaviors. One of those skills is called intensive teaching. There's a type of intensive teaching that I use for younger children when they're having tantrums, and then a type of intensive teaching that I use for children that are a little bit older developmentally, and they are able to choose more to go to the front brain. That skill is called the Rule of Three, and it is part of the Teaching Self-Government system. It's one of the most complicated skills, and I don't spend time going into that entire skill here on the Teaching Self-Government YouTube channel, but you can find more about it at teachingselfgovernment.com. One thing you're going to want to look for at teachingselfgovernment.com is a Calm Parenting Toolkit. Right now, the Calm Parenting Toolkit is completely free and will be a great help for you as you are trying to help yourself and your child learn about calmness and get to a place where those anger issues can be resolved. So take the next step, go and click the link in the description below this video. It says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. And then you can have the Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. It's a mini course that will help you get started on learning self-government at your house. Click on the link. I'll see you there.